You are listening to the CADDle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of ZenTek Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The CADDle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the CADDle Call Podcast with Jim and Rocco from ZenTek Consultants. I am Jim, your very old but still somewhat jolly host, and with me, as always, is my partner,
Rocco, and he is old, people. I'm telling you.
See? And he's not jolly. See how grumpy he is? He has to insult me, and that's why you must suffer through the engineering joke of the week. Okay, Rocco, you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
All right. Why did the engineering student get thrown out of an art class?
Why?
Because he kept drawing conclusions. Ah, yes. And just when you think they can't get any worse. Terrible jokes. All right, folks, we'll stop with that. So we have a guest on the show today. So we have DeLeon, who is the current president of AUGI, is here to talk to us about what cool new happenings are going on over there for the 2026 year. So, Eric, thank you, sir, for being on the show yet one more time.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. Look, so before we get into all of the cool new stuff over at AUGI, why don't we just let folks find out a little bit about Eric's background and how he got involved over there. So, Eric, what was kind of the journey that you took to become the head man over at AUGI?
Yeah, the journey was, I couldn't go. I had a family commitment to one of the board meetings, and they nominated me, and I got a text. I got a text from Todd Rogers. I know he's a good guest, a good friend and guest.
We love Todd. He's a great guy.
He's like, "Where are you at?" I said, "I'm sorry, I can't make it because of a family commitment." He's like, "Dude, we're voting for the new president. You're nominated, and you're it. So do you accept?" But no. I mean, that's, that really did happen. But no, I like to just say, when they were looking, they asked me to be a part of the board in 2022. Up until that point, right? I mean, I've been a part of the industry for, 20 some years now, and really just contributing in the way that I contribute. And I guess at that point, that was just something visible to the AUGI board. It had me be a part as a board of director, a general member. And then eventually, with my experience of being a leader and being a part of other, being president and members of other boards, kind of positioned me very well to be a part of the board and to eventually take over as the current president.
Nice. Yes. Hey, never miss another meeting. You don't know what to do to you next time, man.
No, and that's twice to me. I joined the band booster meeting. I missed a meeting back in the day and when I was back in Oregon for the band boosters, and there again I got voted in as the president. So they already knew that I was interested. But yeah, don't miss those board meetings when there's voting.
Never. You get bamboozled.
Happening. Yeah, for sure.
All right, folks. So look, AUGI, it has been around for quite a while, right? And most of us know it. It's the premier user community for folks in the design side of the design build world. And it has a lot of different components, right? There is the website and community forums and AUGIWORLD magazine and AUGI CON and a dozen other things that everyone out there should be looking into. And we're going to talk about most of those today. The one thing I want to point out for people listening, especially old folks like me, is that AUGI, AUGI, it's an independent agency nowadays, right? Once upon a time, they were in partnership with Autodesk, hence the A at the beginning of their name, right? They were the Autodesk User Group International. But that ended a few years back, and AUGI is now a software agnostic community, I'll say, sharing info and best practices for any and all design systems and workflows out there. So let's get in at that level. So, Eric, how are things going overall now at AUGI since you guys have been on your own for a bit? Are you guys, growing the base?
Yeah, we're trying to, right? I mean, again, it's a challenge, right? Because everybody did recognize us under that Autodesk umbrella. And we had what I like to call the Autodesk juice behind us with some marketing funding and things like that. But What I'm really excited about, to be honest, is that it's great to have kind of that corporate support, but now that we don't, it really does help us to reach a market. I believe that's very much untouched, in that we're um, we're software agnostic and vendor neutral, which means that we have unlimited growth to our base, because we can connect with other people besides Autodesk, right? The Dassaults, the Briskads, the Bentleys, the Land FX, the Bluebeams, right? We can talk about all of these and more, right? Because all of us on the board, a lot of us are still, we all have day jobs, right? For the most part, and we're all actively providing deliverables to our clients using all the different types of software that we have, right? Whether that's DOTs or cities or counties or federal or, those type of agencies, and everything in between, oil and gas and automotive or whatever, right? And everybody's using different types of software. So this year, we're definitely double downing on how can we definitely grow, one, get the message out there on who we are. I mean, I think people know who we are because we've been around since 1990. But really, what does AUGI stand for now that we're no longer under that umbrella? And so we're really excited because, especially with the board members that we have, a lot of them are well known in the industry. And we just have a lot of excitement around the growth and where we can go in 2026 and beyond.
Nice. I tell you what, back in the days, like Roger says, I'm an old guy. But back in my design life, right, I was an active AUGI member and a regular contributor to AUGIWORLD and the community boards. And look, for me, it was a really important tool for my own professional growth and a way to bring best design practices into whatever company I was working for. And again, back in those days, it was mostly Autodesk stuff. But like I was saying, I love that now I can go there for info on anything that I need, right? I even see a lot of cross-connect these days to the construction side of the house, which I think is fantastic. And look, I don't hit AUGI as often in my role running ZenTek, but I am still a periodic visitor, and I have done an article too for them in the last few years since we started up ZenTek. So Eric, I mean, are you guys actively trying to add more industries for tech and info support? Or are you just finding that that's just a natural outgrowth of user needs and curiosity?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I think it's both. It's both, right? One is I think we are trying to actively keep a thumb on the pulse of the industry, and I think, and even with the work you guys do as well, right? I think all of us in the industry are the technology is advancing so quick. Our clients are also being more tech savvy and more sophisticated, which is requiring all of us to level up. And so what that means is, especially when it comes from a CAD and BIM perspective, right? I think naturally, man, we're just growing to support the industry, right? We want to be here for the industry to provide whatever best practices, lessons learned, articles in AUGIWORLD magazine and things like that, just to continue to, one of our slogan is, users helping users, right? That's really where our heart's at. And getting into more industries, getting into different types of tech, supporting different types of groups as a user group expands into these things. I think that's just a byproduct of how, a testament to the industry and how we're all growing together, and how, again, we're trying to meet the requirements of the industry and our clients.
Nice. Yeah, and I agree with that. You see a lot of blend nowadays between design and build, where it used to be separate. So Rocco, let's wake you up. And hey, look, I know for a fact, right? Almost every one of our design customers are familiar with AUGI. But have you been seeing any interest in it with like our construction base over the last few years?
No.
Well, there you go. Thank you for waking up, Rocco.
Sadly, no. And it's we were just talking just before the podcast, right? We're Bluebeam partners here at ZenTek and do an extensive amount of training and consulting services around Bluebeam, and we were just talking about getting more involved with AUGI ourselves because for that reason on the construction end, which is a big area that we play in here at ZenTek, we AUGI doesn't come up. So yeah, I think there's room for growth for sure.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I think it's one of the reasons why we were really happy to have Eric on today. Look, I always like to see a really good organization like AUGI grow. I think it brings a level of cooperation and development for real people that, in a lot of spaces, it's just vanishing under modern business practices and, the AI incursion. We're losing a lot of institutional and I think even more importantly, professional knowledge, right? People aren't mentoring and training and discussing or interacting the way that we used to, right? And I think organizations like AUGI are fighting against that brain drain, which I love, and I think it's vital to take it beyond just the design space and into construction and other related industries as well. So Eric, with all of the changes that are happening in our industry, what plans do you guys have to grow? Where are you taking AUGI in the future?
Yeah, well, to kind of go with Rocco, well, number one, yeah, it's kind of sad when you say, hey, are you in the construction industry? No, right? I get that. I get that, but that's where our heart's at, right? I mean, all the software that we use and all of that we support knowledge base does also go into construction. So, and that's what we're really, a part of our growth is that messaging. Can we be a community that supports those construction professionals? Most definitely, yes, because they're using the same softwares all of us are using. And a lot of us also have just the byproducts of doing our designing and project delivery. We're collaborating with contractors, right? And those folks in the construction. So, when it comes to the changes and how plans to grow, we definitely have plans. And what that was like the start of AUGI CON, right? We're going into our third conference here in April. And so really excited about that and continue to get momentum being the place for the hub for people to go to for, all types of softwares in all walks of life and industries and things like that. And so a part of that, and maybe this is a little pre-announcement, right? But yeah, we definitely want to get more into a monthly cadence of being there and partnering with other subject matter experts, so that way we can continue to expand our base, but also expanding into other areas. Because again, we're vendor neutral, software agnostic, which means that we can go in any industry in any direction that we see fit that aligns with what AUGI is about and who we're trying to serve. So, I'm going to be also, we're just a lot of cool things. I wish I can tell them all because not a lot of them are vetted out yet, but I definitely know that with the group that the board members that we have now, everybody's on board to elevate AUGI and to expand it beyond the realms that we've been, or in the realms that we've been in before because of our partnership with the main software platform.
Yeah, I think that's great. Like I said, I really love that. I think, like you said, we call it the design build world for a reason, right? It's two halves. And I know for a lot of years, right, decades, right, that architects and engineers, they used CAD, and they were the only ones who did. And then, GCs and contractors, they had their own separate software, and there was and that's not the case anymore, particularly with the advent of BIM and construction management. We're seeing more and more IPD projects being done. You know what I mean? It's huge to have a resource like this for everyone. I love where you're taking that. So, all right, I tell you, let's get a quick break in here for a commercial, and when we come back, I'm going to get Eric to give us some details on what's new and a few of AUGI's specific offerings and features. All right, so stand by, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the CADDle Call Podcast. All right, everybody. Today's episode of the CADDle Call Podcast is brought to you by ZenTek Consultants. That's Rocco and I. We're bringing ourselves to you. Aren't we nice? So we wanted to talk to you guys today about some of the things that we offer at ZenTek Consultants. In particular, we wanted to talk to you today about
are offerings around developing and upgrading your CAD standards. We are here to help you guys with all of your CAD standard needs, from ongoing drafting and design support to block and library development, full CAD standards development, right? CAD version upgrades, really whatever it is that you guys need when it comes to developing, implementing, and tweaking your current CAD standards. Or like I said, if you don't have any yet, we can help you build them from scratch. So Rocco, why don't you tell all the good folks how they can reach out to us and start that conversation?
Yeah, there's a lot of information, people, on our website, zentekconsultants.net. That's ZENTEK consultants.net. Or you can give us a call, 866-824-4459, or even drop us an email, sales@zentekconsultants.net.
Ooh, nice. CAD standards from ZenTek Consultants. You're listening to the CADDle Call Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CADDle Call Podcast, where we are talking with Eric DeLeon, who is the president of AUGI today. So, we talked about AUGI in general terms for the first half of the podcast, and now I want to get into some of the specific features that they have. All right, and I want to get an idea of, how they're doing, what changes have been made to them, and where Eric sees them heading in the future. We've got the AUGI magazine, the podcast, the AUGI CON, and of course the general community to discuss. So, let's start with that. Let's start with the community in general, since that really is where most of us start out our AUGI journeys. So Eric, what are the big changes that you guys have made to the community kind of at large? And where do you see that going in the future?
Yeah, I think some of the stuff that probably the biggest change is, we are looking at being more community-based, right? We do have the forums. The forums are there, but, we're not seeing a lot of activity like we used to. And I think that's across the industry, right? Or we're trying to take those forum discussions and move it into the community, which we have AUGI, the community, for that. So if you're a member, if you want to be a part of that, join AUGI.com. There's a way to be a member, and we'll give you access to that community. But yeah, really just, I think when I think about the future is really thinking of how can we grow the community so that way we're truly that hub. And I know it may sound like a broken record, but truly a hub that's, software agnostic and platform neutral type of thing, right? Because I know we have a lot, it's just the nature of our work, right? I mean, a lot of us we're hopping in out of Autodesk products, Bentley products, we're jumping into Bluebeam, and we're using, we're using Forma now, right? And ProjectWise, and we're doing all these different things, and we're really just trying to hone down on just creating that community that I won't say it's a catch-all for CAD and BIM, but it really truly is where we're all, all learning from each other, and we're all helping each other grow and in ways that other people can't, because a lot of us are, we walk in the same shoes, but all of our journeys are different. And so just really trying to grow a really strong, supportive community.
Which is a great thing. I love that. And I will say, I think, a huge benefit of that is, look, Rocco and I were software resellers, particularly in that CAD channel for a lot of years. It's something we've moved away from. But the fact of the matter is, resellers are sellers at the end of the day, and their answers, when you've got questions or concerns, how do I do this? What's this workflow? What's the best way to do this? Those answers tend to be slanted towards buying something from them. And that's what I love about AUGI. It's a place where you can go and talk to other users, right? People, like you said, who are walking, similar paths to you, and get reliable, rational, real-world answers. So I'm a huge fan of that. Okay, I tell you what. I guess the next big AUGI item that I'm curious about is AUGIWORLD, which is your community magazine. Look, I have been an avid reader and a contributor over the years to AUGIWORLD. I actually even think we've done a bit of advertising in that magazine. So if anybody out there listening hasn't read AUGIWORLD, you are missing out. And you should definitely hit their website to check into it right after this podcast. And I'm sure that Eric, in his answer here, is going to be happy to give us the web address. But, Eric, what new and cool things do you want people to know about AUGIWORLD for the coming year?
Yeah, for sure. And again, if you want to check it out, go to www.augi.com, and you could definitely find out more about Augie World magazine and back issues, right? You can become a member, and that's how you're going to be able to access Augie World and to get it in your inbox. I think what's cool about it is one of the things is due to we did have to sunset the hard copy due to costs. So that is one bummer that we just due to lack of sponsorship. So if you're listening to this, you own a company and you want to sponsor Augie World, please get a hold of me. We would love to have your advertisements in there. But nonetheless, all right, we didn't get enough sponsors, and so we had to sunset that to save costs. But what I'm excited about with Augie World magazine is that it's truly one of the only, again, platform agnostic, vendor neutral type of publication, right? Where we're still getting people. Man, I think Todd Rogers, our editor-in-chief, is getting content authors all the time, new ones, that just want to continue to help educate the industry with real-world tactical best practices and advice, right? Anything really cool about it? Not really, because we're just maintaining and elevating the type of content that gets in it. And again, as we start to evolve and grow our messaging of who we are now, again, kind of an identity away from what we were before that people are classically known us for, I'm really hoping it continue to bring new type of content that you can't find anywhere else. And, partner with you guys on here, and then maybe, your audience that's in the construction side. Listen, we have a spot for you. So, if you really want to, be a contributor to help continue to elevate the industry with your knowledge, please reach out, because we're always looking for new types of content, new types of authors. But nonetheless, Augie World magazine continues to be our flagship, one of our flagship pieces of content that we're very excited about.
Nice. All right. So you're Rocco. So like I said, I know we've advertised in Augie World over the years, not a lot, but we have. Why do we do that? Right? Is it because you find that a lot of our clients are still invested in supporting it and reading it?
Yeah, I mean it's an awareness thing for us, right? It's getting our name out there. We've put, particularly on the CAD end, content out there, and it's about getting our name out there and making people aware of what we're able to do. And so that's part of the reason why Eric tries to get sponsors as well. I mean, we're all part of this community, so it's about getting information out there, getting our names out there, and it's a network.
Yeah, and that's it. It's like I said, that's why they keep calling it a community, right? Because everybody's got to work it together. So, all right, folks. So look, the CADDle Call is obviously my choice for the best industry podcast out there. But I will say that Eric's Augie World, the podcast, it's a pretty close second. It's a great source for what's going on in the industry, and they have a lot of different guests talking about a whole bunch of great topics, right? And then what I also like is that their every episode is pretty short, right? Much shorter than the CADDle Call, because have me rambling for hours and hours like I do. But it makes for very quick, info-filled vignettes that I think are great to listen to throughout the workday. I love that. So Eric, what's new with the podcast, and what changes do you got on tap for it?
Yeah, so the podcast, we did a little bit something different this year. Like you said, they are short, and it's because we were having the authors record their own Augie World magazine article, right? And so it's a way to give them double exposure and to give us content for the podcast. But we found out that it was we had a lot of authors had some really good articles, but they were shy to get behind the microphone. And so in the spirit of technology, we did work away, and we went back and forth and finally found an AI platform that does the audio for us. So we feed it in. We've had to teach it all the different, how to make sure to say Augie and BIM and CAD, right? All those acronyms that we all live with day in and day out. And some of those, CADing and BIMing words. But we're able to leverage, I'm going to be honest, AI to be the voice of the authors for those episodes, right? We're just trying to do something different to kind of see how that works, and, allowing us to save some time on our end, because a lot of us, or all of us on the AUGI board, are unpaid volunteers. So we do a lot of this because we're passionate about the industry, we're passionate about AUGI, and we're passionate about making a difference. And so we had to find ways to also kind of streamline what we do, to cut hours into, hopefully it still takes a few hours to do everything, but not as much as it did before. So again, leveraging AI to kind of help us do some of the podcasts, but also coming this year, we are going to get back into one-on-one human in real life, human interviews, which we have a new episode dropping next week with somebody I interviewed this week. And so, so just kind of taking a blend of both technology and talking with real folks in the industry, and just continuing to get out their stories so we can all learn from their journeys.
Nice. I like it. All right. So, one other big area for AUGI that's really becoming more and more important, and it's really impressive, it's the AUGI CON event. And if you guys aren't aware of it, it's a really cool event that I think everybody listening should look into, right? And the 2026 dates are coming up relatively soon, right? So I'll let Eric tell you guys about this. So when is AUGI CON? How do people sign up? And kind of what's on tap for this year that they should know about?
Yeah, so AUGI CON is virtual. It's a 2-day event. It's going to be April 23rd and 24th. It kicks off at 9 o'clock Eastern time. We have a meeting this week. We're going to be finalizing the speaker lineup. We've had almost 40 people do proposals. For us, that's a big deal. So every year it's kind of growing or staying about the same. And so, so just stay tuned. I would probably follow AUGI on LinkedIn or on Instagram. I think those are probably our two best, but LinkedIn will probably be the best way. Or go to augi.com and become a member, and you'll get an email blast from us to all members when the sign up is ready. But so tap this year, we're continuing. Again, I hate sounding like a broken record, but we're really trying to create an event that's, users helping users, real world advice that you can learn from a session, from an industry subject matter expert, and take it to your team and use it immediately, right? And so we're really excited to continue doing that. I think, we've had some amazing presenters on some very amazing topics, just real world things that we're all going through. And again, it's a day mixed of, of different softwares. And so that's one of the things I'm really excited about, because it continues. The more that we're doing it, this is our 3rd year, and the level of topics that we're getting from the different people is amazing, because now they're starting to recognize what AUGI CON's about, and we're excited about that. The one thing that I would like, if I could, I guess, do a sneak peek or a preview here that doesn't know yet, what we'll be announcing soon.
Go to it.
So the CADDle Call gets so we have 2 amazing keynote speakers, right? So opening day is going to be Pete Kelsey. So if anybody's in this world knows about laser scanning, reality capture, he's done some amazing stuff on National Geographic and Alcatraz and the USS Arizona and all sorts of different things. So he's going to be our opening speaker. And then we're going to have Abby Lott from Autodesk. She's their strategic user experience leader. So she's going to come and do the 2nd day keynote session opening for our 2nd day. So we're very excited to have them both as our keynote speakers this year, and just excited about just getting the type of classes that you wouldn't get when it's, a conference by just one vendor, right? We're going to have different types of software. So anyway, that's your exclusive for you guys.
Nice.
And we're really excited.
Look forward to that.
Again,
that's cool.
Yep, our keynote speakers. Yep.
Very, very nice. All right, folks, as always, we like to end by letting our guests tell us something that we didn't plan on or know about that they think is important for you guys to know. All right, so Eric, what else should people know about AUGI that we didn't get to cover today?
Man, so I really wish there's a lot of things that we're working on right now. So if there's anything that maybe you don't know that we didn't cover is we are working on some special projects that I can't say yet. Just like we talked about before in the pre-interview, because they sound really, really solid, really, really promising. We're putting in the work right now. But in the event that we have to pivot for whatever reason, all I can say is that you're going to be hearing and seeing more from us. So just again, follow us on LinkedIn is the best place. If not, become a member today so you can be in the know. But yeah, I think we have some really great projects. I would say they're beyond ideas. We're actually putting in the due diligence now. So that way we can, for those of you who've maybe been a part of AUGI or know about AUGI, we're trying to revive some of that spirit and energy from before. And we have some of that now, but I think a little bit of that's kind of died down, but just stay tuned. We have some great things in store and looking forward to when the next time I come back that I'll be able to talk about more about those and the successes that we're having with those and how we're, I believe, truly meeting the need of the market and being able to provide you this platform agnostic, vendor neutral experience.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, we're embargoed too, right? So, but Eric did talk to us about some of that stuff coming up, and I'm telling you, folks, get on AUGI, stick around. You're gonna like what they have planned. It's gonna be some good stuff. So, all right, folks, and with that, we're gonna get out of here and let you guys go hit the AUGI website. But again, before we split, Eric, I just want to say thank you one more time for taking the time to be here today. Your presence is always greatly appreciated, sir.
And again, thank you for having me.
Always.
Thanks, Eric.
All right, folks, we're going to get out of here. We'll catch you next time on the CADDle Call Podcast.
All right, everybody. Today's CADDle Call was brought to you courtesy of ZenTek Consultants. That's Rocco and I. ZenTek Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. ZenTek strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to ZenTek?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentekconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentekconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from y'all.